The rooftop segment of India is undoubtedly facing something new for the solar sector. But is it the 40 gigawatt of rooftop segment is reachable, or it's much ambitious? We will get to know today with Mr. Arora, who we have with us from 8 minutes Future Energies. Let's see what he thinks about this sector and what is their strategy to go on with it. 8 minute is on track to complete 50 megawatt solar rooftop installation, and you have also plans to commission around 250 megawatt of solar rooftop capacity in the next 3 years. So how you plan to take this amid the silent rooftop segment in India?
So I feel one of the reasons why we first entered into the sector was that we saw that the scalability was missing in the sector. When we saw companies attacking the sector, we saw that the approach that they were taking was very linear. And we decided to follow a more scalable approach. That scalability could be in the approach that we have hit the market from customer acquisition perspective through our various partnerships that we've been able to strike. It could be from the perspective of even design. How do you design a system and deploy it as quickly as possible? The efficiency of your deployments. And finally, the performance and generation and after-sales services that we have been able to provide. I think the scalability comes from all of these, addressing all of these concerns together. And that's how we plan to hit our target, which we've set for ourselves.
So what kind of due diligence is done before you start operation or like you start the operations of your projects?
So there is two types of risks involved in a project. One is the technical risk, the other is the financial risk. When you look at the technical risk, you're typically talking about the generation risk, you're talking about what sort of technical parameters the customer is already involved. So we take a look at the customer's electricity bills firstly to understand how much they are consuming and producing, their sanction load, the policies within that state, and finally how much power cuts they have in a given year. In terms of financial risk, you're basically talking about the customer defaulting over time. So we look at the customer's rating firstly to assess if the customer is financially worthy of the investment size that we're putting in. Finally, we also look at the balance sheet, the tax returns, and multiple other ratios to ascertain if this is a risk-worthy investment for us.
So the company recently announced that it aims at rupees 250 crore revenue in 2017. So what will be the strategies to take this mammoth?
So we're targeting multiple government institutions, commercial and industrial institutions, and finally also the residential segment. Again, from a scalability perspective, we feel that the team and the model that we have developed internally helps us scale and deploy such targets within the near future.
So what 8 minutes is looking into the raise funds of around 10 to 15 million from private equity investors. So how the company plans to use these kind of funds to drive growth for the company itself?
One of the things that we're very excited about this year and is basically our drive into the residential solar sector. We've seen a lot of funding previously happening in the utility and the commercial and industrial space, which has been very exciting for us as well. But the market for the consumer space is still very empty, and that's something that we hope to target and challenge this year. The tariffs, if you look at the residential tariffs in major cities in across the country, we're looking at Delhi, Gurgaon, and Maharashtra as our initial markets, and that's where we plan to invest and start deploying solar assets for homes, and make this as a much stronger value proposition that we have seen in the utility and the commercial and industrial space, which have now become so competitive, and we're expecting very high returns and get the icing on the cake as we enter into a very open sector.
So are there still challenges faced by the EPCs when it comes for the fundraising due to various internal financial and banking contradictions which still go around with the sector?
The challenges are still there, but we feel that the market is now opening up to financing more. You've seen more of a government push. You've seen more of private equity investments, and I think as the sector matures, you will be seeing an ease in and relaxation in such norms.
The government gives of around 30% subsidy. Do you expect the government should raise this kind of subsidy for spurring the rooftop segment in India?
So subsidy is only available for the institutional and the residential segment at the moment. We feel that subsidy right now may be required for us to create a financially worthy value proposition for our customers, but very soon, obviously, this subsidy is going to also subside. If you look at how subsidies were initially entered into the market, which was about 2 to 3 years ago, that's when it was being offered to commercial and industrial customers as well, to create a strong value proposition and help bridge the viable, we call the VGF, to basically bridge the gap between the grid tariffs as well as the solar tariffs. You're seeing a similar funding happening, subsidy happening in the residential sector now to bridge that gap as well. And we feel that we would be able to cover that gap in the next 8 to 12 months, and will obviously then no longer require subsidy. But in the meantime, the subsidy is actually helping us get to very competitive tariffs and be able to offer our customers at least 30 to 50% discount on their current electricity bills.
So what are the key factors do you think that the Indian rooftop segment is facing today? What are the key factors which is laying back the rooftop segment?
I think the high targets that we have set for ourselves are nowhere near to be completed because of one single fact, that we honestly don't have enough competition in the market. We need more players to come in, we need more investments to come in, and we need more demand generation strategies to be put in place by all of these companies together. It's not just good enough to be fighting on tariffs, which happens, but it's very important to make sure that we're also effectively marketing solar is now a new technology which is coming to play. You don't see marketing of solar anywhere today, right? The press is talking very little about it. All they talk about is government initiatives. So solar is more than just government pushes and initiatives. It's actually a new and financially viable and cleaner and more affordable source of energy for businesses and homes. And I think that's how it should be treated. So I think our biggest focus as a sector should be on bringing value to customers and showing how solar can deliver value to them, and focusing on that. Everything else, I think, is going to follow.
I have some amazing figures which I want to share with you. Like it says that rooftop solar in India currently stands at 1.1 gigawatt and needs to grow at 36-fold to reach 40 gigawatt target. You have said right now that's a far reach now. So at this point, what can be done to propel this sector?
The way that I have always looked at the government target is that it's a perception that 5 years later, solar is going to be a primary source of energy for any home or business. When people think about choosing a service provider, they'll look for a solar energy service provider. First thing they start a home or business. It's going to be your primary source of energy. That's how I look at it. These numbers will get to a point where I feel that we're in fact eventually going to be able to cross these numbers. Initially we are struggling, like I said, there's not enough awareness in the market, but as any new technology that comes into play, you initially have the experts doubting that technology, saying that it's not going to be able to reach such high targets, it's not going to be able to achieve such high penetration. But we've all banked upon solar, we have all taken that risk, and we strongly feel that solar is that technology which is going to be powering the homes and businesses of the future. And these numbers are going to be, we're going to far exceed these numbers that the government has committed.
So what are the potential segments are you trying to bid right now in this Indian market?
The segments that we're targeting as a company are basically industrial segment, which is you're looking at industries across the country. You're looking at commercial segment, which includes homes, which includes schools, hospitals, malls, and various other commercial establishments. And finally, we're looking at homes as well as a major segment for us to target.
Any success story that you have just integrated or commissioned some kind of big project all around across the country?
We just commissioned the NBC bearings plant at Vadodara. That's about 1.14 megawatts. That was just done 2 days ago. So we're very excited about that. And we have Yeah, quite an extensive pipeline of commissioning throughout this next 1 month as well. About 3.5 megawatts of commissioning also happening this month. So exciting month for us.
So anything when you talk about the pipeline, any specific project which you want to put on the highlight so the people on the industry just know through that what 8 minutes Future Energy is going under in 2017? Something very specific?
So I think the most exciting thing for us is actually just being able to enter into the residential segment. I think we've done enough industries, we've done enough commercial business to say that, yeah, we have all the big clients under the belt. But we're extremely excited to be entering into the Delhi and Gurgaon market and really pushing our way towards homes and, making our mark there. Yeah.
So what are the future plans or what I can expect from 8 minutes Future Energies?
The way that we've always looked at solar is not as a project, but as a product, which we want to sell to consumers, whether they're business or homeowners. And what we are going to be developing over the next few months is going to be groundbreaking in terms of an online technology platform, an app, which lets users easily come online, understand their solar requirements, choose a financing option, and finally go solar very, very quickly. The standard industry deployment times are about 3 to 6 months for industrial projects. We want to bring that down to about 30 days, 30 to 45 days. For homes, we are bringing that time down to about 7 days. So it's as simple as ordering a phone online. It's delivered to you within 7 days. Very similarly, your solar installation is going to be up within 7 days, installed and running on your home. So we're doing a lot of innovation in technology, in design of how solar systems look and feel and how they're deployed over time. And every single part of the value chain is something that we're looking at examining from a fresh perspective and essentially creating that scalable model which is going to help create that lasting impact.
So thank you, Mr. Arora, for the interview.